So last time we spoke about the release. We deployed our application on Azure Web App. That is something we did it. Correct? So this is what we did. We deployed our application on Azure Web App. All this is failing. Okay, did we have scheduled something? Because my pipelines are running automatically. I think our build is scheduled. See. Okay, there was commit happening. Forget about it. Okay, so this is what we were doing. We have created a release pipeline and we deployed our application on Azure Web App. Now everything was done manual, such as infra creation was done manual and the deployment was done manual. Everything was done manual. Now this is something we need to automate. So we can automate infra creation using infra as a tool. Okay. Before that, one more thing which we haven't covered, that is agent pool over here. Now the agent pool which we are using for running our pipelines, if I go and make sure what agent pool we are using. So we are using an Azure hosted agent pool. Now from where exactly we are getting this agent pool, what exactly this agent pool is, if we want our own agent pool, can we do that? So today we'll understand, because this is a very important topic, agent pool. Let's understand this topic today. Tomorrow we'll start with ARM. Post that, we'll come back to the pipeline once we have the ARM templates ready. Okay. So what is agent pool? Let's go and understand that. And can we create our own agent pool? Can we have a customized agent pool and things like that? Let's go and see that. Self-hosted agent pool. Now, agent pool. To build your code or deploy your software using Azure pipelines, you need at least one agent. As you add more code, people, you will eventually need more. So agent pool, if you remember, I have already spoke about, is nothing but it's a mediator between your build or release and your end server. All your tasks, basically, all this task. So in this, we got a Azure deploy task. So this task, where exactly is getting executed? Is it getting executed on your local system? No. You're using a web-based Azure DevOps right now, correct? So your local system is not getting involved anywhere. You're using a browser. On the browser, you got Azure DevOps. On the DevOps, you logged in on the browser. This is set up on cloud somewhere. Okay. Now you're running this task, deployment task, that is run on agent pool. Okay. And that agent pool is nothing but it could be a server which has all the prerequisite. Like for running a .NET application, what are the prerequisites required? You need a .NET, you need Visual Studio Basic, you need MS Build, VS Build. All these prerequisite needs to be installed on the server. Okay, so everything is already pre-installed. You just go and run your deployment task, and the things gets deployed on the end server. And the end server, which is the end server, that your Azure cloud. So agent pool is working as a mediator. It is giving you the platform wherein you can go and execute all your tasks. Same goes with build. When you're doing a build, where exactly the build is happening? The MS build, where is the MS build is running? That is running on the agent pool. And eventually the agent pool is creating the artifacts for you, and it is placing the artifact in the drop location so that you can access the artifact and you can deploy the artifact. Okay, so that is what agent pool is all about. Let's go back to the PPT. When your pipeline runs, the system begins one or more job. An agent is computing infrastructure. So it's a compute, it's a server, guys, with installed agent software that runs one job at a time. So it is a computing infrastructure. Consider this as a server for now. And it has installed agent. Agent is nothing but it's all the required plugins which is required to run your task, run your jobs. It is there already on it. And it runs one job at a time. Okay, so by default we get 1800 minutes free. If you're working in a free tier, it's 1800 minutes free, and you get one free agent. 1800 minutes, and you get one free agent. If you want parallel execution, like if you want to run, what do you mean by parallel execution? Okay, if you want parallel execution, then in that case you need to have multiple agents, and that multiple agent needs to be, you need to pay for it. Multiple agent is not free. Okay, in companies, so there are costing involved. What are the charges and things like that? That is something we can talk about. Okay, so that is what agent pool is all about, guys. Okay, there are two types of agent which you will come across: Microsoft hosted agent and self-hosted agent. Okay, so the one which we are using till now for my build and everything, that is we are using Microsoft hosted agent. Till now, the one which we were using, that is we were using Microsoft hosted agent, but you can have your own self-hosted agent. Now, what exactly is the difference between Microsoft hosted and self-hosted, and where do we use what? That is something we'll understand. Microsoft hosted agent, if your pipelines are using Azure pipelines, then you got an option to run your jobs using Microsoft hosted agent. So as if now we are using this part. Now if I go back to my build and everything, this is what we are using. Do you see this Azure pipeline? So this agent pool which we're using, it is Microsoft hosted agent. So with Microsoft hosted agent, maintenance and upgrades are taken care by us. Each time we run a pipeline, we get a fresh virtual machine for each job in the pipeline. So the maintenance, everything is taken care by Microsoft, not by us, sorry. It is completely taken care by Microsoft. And what did I say while I was running the pipelines? Then each run will have a new fresh agent pool created. If I run the pipeline once, the life cycle of the agent will be only till the pipeline is running. Whether the pipeline is success or failure doesn't matter. If the pipeline fails, the agent pool is destroyed, and when you rerun the pipeline, a new agent pool is assigned. If the pipeline success, the agent pool gets destroyed, and when you rerun the pipeline, then a new agent gets created. That is what happens when you use a Microsoft hosted agent. That's why we don't have access to the agents. Okay, remember, we don't have access to the agent pool if you're using Microsoft hosted agent, we don't have access. If we want to access any files, what we do, we keep that file into system default working directory. Then you place it into build artifact staging directory. Correct? Then we place it into drop location. That is what we used to do. Correct? Now, if you want anything as such, then we put the files into where build artifact staging directory. From there, we put it into the drop location. Then we can just access the artifacts if you're using Microsoft hosted agent. The reason is straightforward. Over here, the agent pools are very limited. The life cycle of agent pool is only limited to the pipelines when you're executing the pipelines, and after that it gets destroyed. So where do you access the file? So Microsoft has come up with a solution. They provided you a drop location, a separate location, so that once your artifact gets created, that particular file can be placed somewhere else. Okay, and you can access the file at least. On the other side, you can also have your own self-hosted agent. What do you mean by own self-hosted agent? You can set up your own VM. On top of it, you can install the agents. What will be the benefit of self-hosted agent? The benefit will be you can access your own, you can access everything on the agent pool. You can see what's wrong. You can have complete control on your agent pool because that's your own VM, guys. You can go and log in and see what's happening. Okay. The other disadvantage of hosting self-hosted agent is you need to maintain and manage things by yourself. If there is a change in agent pool version, you need to go and upgrade the agent pool by yourself. Microsoft is not taking care of anything as such. Okay. So an agent that you set up and manage on your own to run jobs is a self-hosted agent. So it's something you do it for yourself. Self-hosted agents give you control to install dependent software needed for your build and deployment. Now, why do we use self-hosted agent over Microsoft hosted agent? Microsoft is very a piece of cake. Just pick it up and start eating it, correct? Wherein self-hosted agent is like you're baking your own cake first. Okay, forget about the eating. You're baking your own cake, putting it in an oven, getting it decorated, then cutting it, then eating it. That is what self-hosted agent is all about. And why do you use it? Take an example of a cake itself. You want a customized cake, right? It's your child birthday and you want to have something, a Spider-Man created on it. And that is something you want to create it by yourself. So this is, you will not go with Microsoft cake because that is out of the box. So whatever they give, you need to go for it. Even though they're giving you the best. But if you want something customized, then you need to go and do it by yourself, correct? That is what self-hosted agent is all about. In your build, there is a specific version of dependency you want. There are specific version of applications you want to deploy. There are specific version of packages required to build your application. If you have any such requirements, then your Microsoft hosted agents will not work in your case. You need to have your own agent pool created. You need to install the agent on top of it. Post that you can have those specific versions installed on your on the server. Okay. Then you can go with your own hosted agent. On the other side, Microsoft hosted agent is out of the box. So you get everything installed on Microsoft hosted agent. So very rarely I believe any of your build or release will fail with Microsoft hosted agent. But if anything is failing, then that could be possibly you have a specific requirement of some customized version of something. Because with Microsoft hosted agent, you'll get everything latest. Whatever latest is there in the market, that will be available with Microsoft hosted agent. Okay. Okay. Are we good? Anyone, any questions, guys? What is Microsoft hosted agent? What is self-hosted agent? No questions? Okay, let's go and see how exactly we can have this agents pool setup. So we have already seen how this Microsoft hosted agent works. This is basically out of the box. You don't need to do anything. You just need to go and select Azure pipelines as your agent, and you'll be able to work with Microsoft hosted agent. On the other hand, self-hosted agent, this is something we can do a setup. Okay, so let's go and do the setup. So in order to do this setup, I would need a VM, a virtual machine. Okay, so either I can do one thing, I can go and set up the VM on the cloud, or I can do one thing, I can set this agent pool on my laptop itself. I'll consider my laptop, my local system as my as a VM, and I'll set up my agent pool on my local laptop just for practice. And whatever steps I do over here, it's the same steps you need to follow wherever you go. Whether you setting things up cloud, AWS cloud, Azure cloud, or on your own data center VMs, it is the same step, guys. Nothing different from it. Okay, so let's go and set the first self-hosted agent. Now, in order to set your agent pool, just go to the project settings at the left-hand side down corner. Now, over here, there is an option of agent pool. In this agent pool, there are two. If you see this icon, this is like a cloud icon. This is your Azure pipelines. This is, if you go inside this, this is nothing but this is your Microsoft hosted agent. What exactly is this? This is your Microsoft hosted agent. If you see this, this is written as hosted agent. If you go into details, this is by Microsoft. Okay. Your agent pool is enabled, so that means it is working right now. On the other hand, if you see this data center icon, okay, this is where you can set up your own self-hosted agent. So by default, like if you don't give a agent pool name, suppose when you're setting up an agent pool, and if you don't give any name, then that comes directly over here in this box. Okay, but I don't want my agent pool to fall inside this box. So what I'll do, I'll create an agent pool box over here. Self-hosted agent. So I'll just name it as Valaxy DevSecOps. Okay, I'll just name this. Description, I'll just give the same description. And I'll give permission to all my pipelines to use this agent pool. Okay, now if you see this same icon, so this is representing that it is the self-hosted agent. If I go inside this, there's no agent right now, so I can go and set up the agent, and there's no job execution happening because there's no agent. So agent is something you need to set up a VM over here. Okay, nowadays you can set up agent pools on Docker containers also, guys, Kubernetes pods also. So it's up to you. How do you want to set up your own agent pool? Okay, so let's go and set this up on my local system itself. The same step you can follow if you want to set things up on VMs. Okay, just keep that in mind. So in order to set up, there is a new agent. When you click on new agent, this agent pool support all the three OS, the Mac OS, the Linux, and the Windows. So as if now we will be setting up on Windows, but if you want to set things on a Mac, this is the step which you need to follow. For Linux, there is a step which you need to follow. For Windows x64, this is a 64-bit machine, so I'll be using this step. But if in any case, if you're using 32-bit, which I believe not, then you can use x86 one. Okay. Now there are few prerequisites. Make sure that prerequisites are met before you go and set anything up. And this is very minimum prerequisite, guys. If you have anything above Windows 7, then you're good. Okay. See. And on server side, if you have anything about 2012, then you're good. PowerShell 3.0 and above. .NET 4.6.2 and above. So if you have anything above Windows 7, then there's no problem. Recommended Windows Studio Tool 2015 or higher. Okay. These are the prerequisite which you need to make sure that it is achieved. And if you go to the same, if you go to the Linux one, these are the list of OS supported. CentOS, Debian, Fedora, Linux, Oracle, SUSE, Ubuntu. Ubuntu 2004, 1804, 1604. Okay. So make sure these are the prerequisite which is met before you end up setting up your agent pool. Now let's go back. Now there are steps. Okay. There's a package which we need to download. This is nothing but your agent pool plugin, the dependency, the DLL, the .dll files, and everything is right in this package. Okay, while the package is downloading, let me walk you through with the steps what we have. Okay, so this is very straightforward command, make directory agent. So basically asking you to create an agent in a C drive. So this is a C drive, we are in the C drive right now, and then switch to that agent. Okay, second step is it is adding an assembly system IO compression file system. So basically this assembly is basically used for extracting file. This assembly is used to extract files. Okay. Now, if you see this, using this assembly which we have added, it is extracting your directory. So the one which is down, it's there in the download section. So the one which is getting downloaded right now, guys. So the same file is getting extracted and it is getting placed into PWD. PWD is nothing but parent working directory, your current directory. So which is your current directory? This one. Okay. So that is what these two tasks is doing. So let's go and open that PowerShell first. Okay. We are into the PowerShell. Hopefully it is visible. Let's go to C drive first. Okay. Where are we? C drive. PWD parent working directory. Okay. What is the command in it wants me to run? That is make directory agent, then cd to agent. That is what it wants. Where are we? CW agent. Now the next task is, next command is adding assembly. This is the command which we need to execute as it is. In my case, I have my file which is getting downloaded in my download location, guys. If there is a change in location, if you guys are downloading anywhere else, then that path needs to be updated over here. That keep that keep that in mind. Okay. In my case, I don't have anything as such. I have things in my download location. So if you see, it's still getting downloaded. So let's wait while the file is getting still downloaded. Okay, perfect. It got downloaded. Perfect. So it's there in my download location. So I can go and execute the command as it is. But again, if it's in your case, if it is somewhere else, make sure that it is the path is updated. Okay. Let me go and run this command. So this command will do nothing. This will simply go and extract the file and place the file in your current location. That's it, guys. Nothing extra additional this command is doing. Just extracting the file and keeping it into your location. Okay. Now if I run ls over here, you can see, do you see these are all binaries? If you go inside the bin, see, these are all DLLs. So these are the things which is required to run your agent pool. Just keep that in mind. You will require all this DLL to execute your commands. Okay. If I come down, if I go to externals, okay, it supports various commands and everything is given over here. Anything else is required, you need to go and download that if there's anything else required. Okay, so we got the files right now. My agent is not still created. Now in order to run the agent, you need to set up your agent for the very first time. So you need to configure your agent. How do you configure your agent? You can simply run this command, run cmd. Oh, sorry, we haven't configured yet. So we need to go and config. Okay. So this is where you need to go and set up your configuration from scratch. Firstly, it is asking for your enter server URL. So basically your server URL will be till your project name. Sorry, till your organization name, not your project name. Your project name is Valaxy DevSecOps. Your organization is Mela DevOps. So https dev.azure.com/Mela DevOps. This is what till here you need to put in. How do you authenticate? How do you how exactly Azure DevOps will come to know that you are sending the request from the right source? So there are authentication which is supported. You can use PAT. PAT stands for Personal Access Token. Using this token authentication, you can authenticate that the request is coming from the right agent pool. This is how to authenticate and the authorization will happen. Now, in order to create this PAT token, or come to your project, on the right hand side top corner, there is a user setting. There's an option of personal access token. Over here, you can go and click on new token, name this token as give whatever name you want to give, guys. DevSecOps. Okay. Give all access for now, but if you want to customize, you can do a customization. You can select the expiration date based on your requirement. Okay. For now, I'll just give full access to everything. Now, if you see the token got created, I'll just copy this token and keep it on my notepad for now because I'll require this token later. Now I'll just put the token over here. Connecting to server. Now it is asking for your agent, enter agent pool. Press enter for default. Remember I spoke about that if you don't give a agent pool name, by default the agent will be created under default folder. See this. So it will be created under default folder, but we do have a name, correct? I want my agent to be created over here. So what I can do, I can give the name Valaxy underscore dev secops. This is underscore, correct? Secops is right. Perfect. Enter agent name. Do you want to give any agent name? So this is taking my system name right now. That is my last name. That is what it is taking right now. But if I want to change it to something else, then you can change it depending upon. So I'll just change it to self-hosted. Okay. Self-hosted spelling mistake. Okay. Self-hosted. Scanning for tool capabilities. Basically, it will go and check all the prerequisite. If everything is met, it will go and execute things. Now enter work folder. Now this is very important, guys. If you're using self-hosted agent, you have access to everything what is running, unlike hosted agent. Now this is the folder where thing gets copied. Now let's come back to your build pipeline. You'll understand more when I show you. Now if you see this checkout thing, now what exactly happening over here? It is checking out your complete repository and it is placing it somewhere, some location. Now this is in case of self-hosted agent. Now in self-hosted agent, that this is the location underscore work directory where your checkout will happen. So you can go inside this work directory, you can see what exactly got checked out, what will be running, what are the files it's getting executed, everything you can see by yourself because you have complete access to the internals, so you can go and see it. So this is the directory where things will be created. If you want to have the same name underscore work, you can keep it the same way. If you want to change to something else, you can change it by yourself. For now, I'll stick with underscore work. What is next is enter run agent as a service. So basically what it is asking you, do you want to run your agent pool as a service? What is the importance of running agent pool as a service? You can manage your agent pool directly from service.msc. See, you can directly manage things from here. You can go right click. So for example, I have Apache. I can go right click properties. I can start automatic. I can start the status. I can stop it. And if I want this automatically to start when my system starts, then this service will automatically start. So I can manage things directly from my service.msc if you have agent running as a service. Same goes with Mac, same goes with Linux. Linux will have system CTL through which you can manage your services. Okay, so this becomes part of your service.mscs so that you can manage it by yourself. But in my case, I'll not make it part of my service.msc because this is my local system, guys. After this session, I'll be removing this all. So I'll just say no for now. But in reality, when you're setting up things on a VM, then definitely you should set this up as a service.msc. Enter configure auto login and run agent on startup. Now this is again very important. Now in any case, like say for example, if your system reboots, okay, for any unforeseen reason, like if someone is upgrading and your system reboots, so at that point of time you want your agent pool to auto start. It should be part of your boot process. You want your service to auto start and be running and be available once the server is up and running. Okay, so again this is very important that your services should be up automatically. It should not happen that anyone should come and do manual start stop. So that should not happen. So in reality, once you set up your agent pool, you just forget about it. You just come back when there's a maintenance required. Okay, so in this case again it is a yes if you're setting things up on a VM. For me, I'm setting it on my local system, so I'll just say no. Now if you see, the configuration is done. Now once the configuration is done, I can go back to my project settings. I can go back to my agent, Valaxy DevSecOps. Okay, do you see self-hosted agent? It is enabled and it is offline. The reason it is offline because we said no to everything and it has not started yet. Okay, so hence what we can do, we can go and run the run the agent pool manually now. To run, connecting to the server, listening for jobs. So your agent pool has started, guys. Now this is how the agent pool behaves. Now if I go back, do you see your self-hosted agent is online right now? How do we test this? Okay, how do we test this? I can go to build pipeline. I can edit this pipeline. Now this time I'll go and change the agent. Do you see we can see a private in the private section? You can see Valaxy DevSecOps. Select this. Okay. So you selected your own agent now. Save it and queue it. See this. Do you see running jobs? It started executing a job. Running job, agent job 1. Now if you see this, your pool is Valaxy DevOps. Okay. So you're executing the task on your own self-hosted agent now. Let's wait and watch while the execution is happening. Okay. Anyone, any questions while we are waiting? The same set of steps you will be following when you do it on servers, guys. Nothing different. See the initialization started. Agent name self-hosted, machine name, this is my local machine name. What is the agent version? And this is the user I'm logged in with. So this is all my local system information. It's popping up right now over here. This is slow because my configuration is slow, guys. My configuration is not that big. But when you're setting up agent on a dedicated VM, at least 16 GB of RAM and at least 4 to 8 vCPU you will have, then you will have your agent pool running at a very good good pace. Okay, because if you see initialization only took 1 minute because this is on my local system, that's why. Now if you see checkout might have created, do you see this work directory? this work directory got created and all my files got placed in this folder. That is the beauty of having a self-hosted agent wherein things are done automatically. See, do you see this underscore work? You can go into this, you can go to this source, and you can see what exactly got checked out. Okay. Now the artifact might be getting created. So there's an artifact directory will be created. So I'll show you the artifact directory also once it gets created. So in basically this is a system default working directory where the file gets downloaded. Once this is files are downloaded over here, then it goes to artifact directory ending with A. So that is where we were using the predefined variables, remember? Okay. Now this is done. Your build is completed using your own agent. It's still running. The checkout is happening right now. Let's refresh. Okay, this checkout is still happening. Okay, created. Now if I go back to one artifact, see, we got the artifact created in the drop location. But if you want to have the visibility of the same artifact, you can go to the work directory 1A. A stands for artifact directory. Now, do you see the zip file? The exact same thing on your local system. So this is the beauty of your agent, self-hosted agent, where things are visible to you, what's happening. Are we good? Any questions? No questions, guys? Yes, no? No one? Okay, cool. So there's no question. This is how you will be setting up your own agent pool, guys. Okay, there was a question by Josh, I believe. Josh, I think you had this question wherein if you have two applications in the same repository, both the application was getting built, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So just to give you the glimpse, I have two applications right now. This is one application. This is the second application. If I go back to my pipelines, now if you have already seen it, in my drop location only one artifact is getting created, and if you go and see my build, even only one application is getting built right now. So this is Valaxy DevSecOps. If I go up, there's nothing else. Now how exactly I have achieved this, I'll show you. Okay, there's no second application getting built, nor multiple artifacts are getting created. So this was the question by Josh earlier. So let me go and show you how you can achieve this. So if you go into the triggers, you can see I have nothing different than what you have, correct? Included, I just included this particular application. I can also have exclude tab if you want, but that is not required. But if you want to have on purpose, then you can go and have an exclude tab. So
Yeah,
the
I think
only,
we had excluded as well.
yeah, I can have it. There's no difference. Even though if you have exclude, I can get this also for you. Okay, perfect. Okay, post this, the main changes what I did was at my solution end. Now do you see I'm calling some solution like this? This solution is defined inside my variables. Now I haven't covered the variables topic yet, that's why I didn't want to cover this today. But do you see this? I've defined a custom variable. This is a custom variable which I defined. Now I've given the custom variable a path. If I want to build this, so where is exactly my solution file is? My solution file is somewhere over here, correct? This is my solution file. So I just gave that path over here. Okay. And I've given the name as solution. Now I'm just calling this solution path in my task. How do you call a variable inside the pipeline? So the variable is called with dollar open bracket close bracket, and inside this the variable name. That's it. So I've defined my solutions over here, and I'll be covering this variable part in details later again, guys. Just for FYI, this is I just defined the path over here, and I'm just calling that path right in my task. Doing the build also, only this solution is getting called. Okay, only this solution is getting called right now. So that's why, let me save this. That's why whenever I run my pipeline again, it's only one artifact which is getting built right now. That is the Valaxy DevSecOps. Okay, make sure to define your path. Once you define the path, call the variable inside your task, and then try to build your, if you have multiple application as such. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
no problem. No problem, Victoria. So we'll have in detail. Variable is not small line. When I cover ARM at that time, I'll cover variable in detail, because variable is very important for making sure that your pipelines are reusable. If you use variable, then you can reuse your pipelines. So from the DevOps perspective, variables are very important. Okay. So once, see, if you see the agent pool is succeeded, if I want to stop my agent pool, I can just do Control C and terminate the agent pool. The agent pool will be stopped. Okay. Now, if you want to, now because this is on my local, I want to clear things up. I want to delete everything now. It's not on my VM. So what I can do, I can have something called config, and I think there is a flag called remove. Yeah. So it will ask for path authentication token again. So that's why I kept the path authentication token again. I'll just copy this and I'll just put it over here. Now this will, what it will go, it will go and remove everything, whatever credentials, if you have set the agent pool as a service, or if you have set this agent pool on auto logon, everything will be removed. Okay. Now this is what we did. We removed everything. Once it is removed, I can go to my C drive. Okay. Before I go remove the C drive, in agent pool, you get the very frequent error. What you get is a space issue, because of which the agent pool will stop working. So in such cases, what you can do, you can come to this underscore work directory and delete everything. Okay. In such cases, in reality, I'm talking about in the real time, guys. So you get space issue a lot. What's happening for each run, your files are getting created. The files are getting stored in a directory and S directory. So there is a huge file chunk which is getting created. So when there's a space issue, like when your C drive is full, basically when your C drive gets full, then you start getting all this space issue and your agent pool misbehaves. In such cases, you can just come and delete the underscore work directory. Delete the content from the work directory, not the work directory. Okay, don't do that. And you are good. Okay, just keep that in mind. That is a troubleshooting steps which you will may have to follow once you start working on agent pools. Okay, so this is done. I have deleted the file and I can go back, remove this pad token. I can remove the pad token also, because there's no use of the pad token now. I can just go and revoke it. Okay, the pad token is gone. Now I can go to my Valaxy DevSecOps, go to project settings, go to agent pools, and again, okay. Before that, if you go inside this agent pool, you can see one job which got succeeded, which we executed on own agent pool, and the agent is removed, so there's nothing right now. Now I can go and delete this agent pool. The cleanup activity is also done. Okay. So make sure to go and set up the agent pool. Try to run your agent pool build and everything on your own agent pool. You can also do the release also, guys, in case if you want to do a release. Okay, so that's it. This was a very small topic which I wanted to cover before we jump on to something big. Tomorrow onwards, we'll start ARM. An ARM template. I'll be creating the ARM template on Visual Studio Code. Okay, so make sure to go and download Visual Studio Code. Any version will be okay, guys. There's nothing as specific. Go and download Windows Studio Code. We'll do multiple things with this IDE tool. I'll be writing ARM templates with this. I'll be writing Azure pipelines with it. I'll be writing Terraform configuration with it. I'll be writing Kubernetes deployment YAML and service.yaml also with it. So this is what we'll be using basically everywhere. So make sure to download and keep it. Where's the chat? Okay, I'll just keep giving this information. Just download and keep it. Okay, so that is the only prerequisite. Rest from tomorrow we'll have a new topic started. Anyone, any questions, any doubt, please do let me know, or else we can wind up
Rohit,
the call.
if you are like configuring a self-hosted agent, Windows, we need to have that. There should be a software installed, right? Already, like to compile the ASP.NET applications.
Yes, yes. So by default, out of the box, you get everything, Bala. So the plugins which we have downloaded, like the files, the agents which I was downloading, basically. So it has by default everything. On top of it, if you want to have any custom version, then you need to go and install it. But if you see these binaries, by default, you got everything. See this. It has everything. Whatever is required for building any sort of application, not just for .NET. This agent pool can be also used for deploying Java Maven application. It can also be
Okay.
used to deploy Golang. Okay, so so this is by default comes with all the prerequisite for building and releasing your application. If anything is missing, that is something you need to go and download by yourself. Okay.
If we want to run, the ASP.NET application on the Linux agent,
Yes, yes,
is
yes.
it possible?
Yes, yes. ASP.NET Web Core. So that is platform independent. Okay, if you go with legacy one, okay, then that will definitely not work. That is not platform independent. But ASP.NET, the newer version of ASP.NET, which the one which we are using, which supports microservice deployment as well, that will work on Linux also.
Okay.
Because
Thank
if
you.
you go with, no problem, if you go with ASP.NET Core application, that is microservice application basically. So that is platform independent. It works on Windows, Mac, Linux, everyone. It supports different web servers also. Like if you want to uh, deploy your ASP.NET web on a Nginx, even that is possible. But yeah, if you go with the legacy one, no, that will not work on any other OS other than Windows, and it only supports IIS, no other web server also. Okay,
Thank you, Rohit.
no problem. Anyone else, guys? Any questions?
Hi. You've given us the download link for this VS Code.
Mm-hmm.
So are we going to be using that instead of Visual Studio going forward?
No, Visual Studio I was using basically for the ASP.NET application creation. So
Mhm.
Visual Studio, I used to do, see, even we can use Visual Studio for creating ARM templates. Okay, but I think Visual Studio Code is more user friendly. So it's your choice how you want to write. You can
Oh,
use
okay.
Visual Studio also, Visual Studio Code also. You can use other IDE tool, like I can write ARM templates on Notepad also, Notepad plus plus also.
Mhm.
So depending upon how you are flexible, what you think, what suits your requirement more, you can go and use it. There's no stopping. But for me, I believe we'll stick with Visual Studio Code because that is more user friendly, and it got multiple plugin support. Using those plugin, your life will be very easy. You don't need to write things from scratch, basically. You just use the plugin, the right plugin, and your templates will be created then and there. So that is something we'll do, because we'll not write everything from scratch. Nowadays, I'll not even recommend anyone to do things from scratch, but you should know what exactly you're doing. What are those plugins? What are those syntax? What plugins you're using and things like that. So if you know it, you can do things like you can create this Azure web app in 5 minutes using ARM templates. You just write the template, deploy it, that's it, done. So yeah, so to start with, we'll use with Visual Studio Code, but later if you want to switch to any of your IDE tool, PyCharm, Notepad++, Atom, whichever you think of, you can go. There's no problem. Whichever
Okay,
you're
sir.
comfortable. Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Let's meet up tomorrow and let's start with ARM. Once ARM is done, we'll come back to your CI/CD pipeline. Okay.